Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Oh my goodness, so good to be with you. Alex, you are releasing a crowdsourcing for your book, or you've done it, you've launched it. Would you share your journey with us? Like, what I've seen your daily lives where you've been talking about it, but let's go a little bit deeper and share what it's like to launch this with everything you have going on in full life, right?
What a great question, Carol, to start off, right? It's it's beautiful, and at the same time, it's been a really amazing gift to really see the tools and skills that we have developed over these past several years, right? Like with all the work that we've done as master neuro coaches, with all the work that I've done as a master leader and trainer, and it's really putting to the test all of these skills, really leaning into vision that we talk about a lot in, on our podcast, really leaning into identity, right? On like really like embodying this identity as a bestseller, a best-selling children's author. Yeah. And everything in terms of our decisions, our thoughts, our actions, our results. And I would say that this crowdsourcing opportunity has been a beautiful gift to me. And at the same time, it's also been like, whoa, like it's opened up all these opportunities and doors I never could have imagined. And I'm able to be grounded and focused and present because of the work that we've done and the things that we talk about when it comes to the neuroscience of success and wealth and leadership and productivity, because it's really putting everything into play to really be able to show up vulnerably, authentically, and really as that thought leader, that visible thought leader in what I'm creating here with the book that I know that you shared before, that this is more than just a book. It's really this.
What is crowdsourcing? Like, what is it, so that, in case somebody doesn't know what that means?
So crowdsourcing really is an opportunity to source funding and support from basically anybody, essentially. And when you have a thought, like a thought, well, of course, this starts with a thought. It all starts with a thought, right? Yeah. When you have an idea, a project, a product that you want backing and support to be able to get it from, ideation into, the completion phase, you can put together a crowdsourcing campaign that allows people from all over to be able to come and support your initiative, your vision in what you're creating.
And I noticed with your crowdsourcing, though, it's not just people coming supporting you. You made an amazing offer.
Yes. So you're right. I'm glad you caught me in saying that. You're right. It's not, crowdsourcing is really supporting the mission. You're right. It's not about, say, supporting an individual necessarily. Of course, supporting an individual who's got the mission and what they're creating. But this crowdsourcing initiative is very unique because this is really a community and you listener, coming together to support and really getting Free to Be Me from the being written on paper and it all mapped up on paper to really getting it through the illustration and the art process into the publishing phase, and of course into the hands of my goal of 1,000 homes this year. And something that was really important to me was that this be a very beautifully illustrated book and that it was art. It wasn't just, because yes, I could have gone online and I could have gotten AI to help put characters together for me. But it was really important to me that the energy around this book was community and was co-created. Yeah. I co-created with my daughter, right? I co-created it with the communities that I'm in, and there's so many people that have been part of this that it just felt right and aligned to
Mm.
really continue the co-creation process to completion. And so when I spoke to my artist originally, and she shared with me, the investment that comes with illustrating a children's book, especially based on the vision behind it, that came with a beautiful price tag, right? And I first thought, like, oh my goodness, how, how do children's authors like create books like this and be able to really fund and support the craft of art and illustration for children's books. And that's where the idea of crowdsourcing came. And I know that we have a website client of ours that had run a crowdsourcing campaign for his book. And it's funny how you just start that particular activating systems activated. You start to talk to people, and then you're like, oh yeah, someone I funded me for my book, and it just sort of really opened up the conversation.
I think it's an important place to interject to, like, you mentioned how, and our brains always shift to the how, but because I know you and I know the work you do, especially as a neuro coach, I know you're able to put the belief first that this is
Yeah.
possible, that you have been programming this into your mind, priming it into your mind, so that that was the first part before you shifted to, okay, what's available to make this process happen?
Yeah, it's that's priming in that the automatic reflex of being okay. Like, how do we create this? Not in how do we create this, but like, okay, how do we create this? Like, let's put this out to the universe,
Yeah.
right? And it's the intonation in which we ask that question that you and I have talked a lot on this podcast, right? About asking the question of like, okay, so this is the reality, right? And I get to create this. And so how do I create this? Like, what is that going to look like? To be open to the possibility to now have, the answers come through conversations, through people, having discussions. And to understand what the crowdsourcing part was also, it's not just a crowdsourcing campaign, is that we wanted to continue this co-collaboration, this co-creation process, creative with the crowdsource campaign. So what that looks like is coming up with, and this came to me in a breathwork session, which, we had an amazing breathwork interview on this podcast. And I think that would be a great one to reshare with this community, with
Yeah.
Jen World,
Yeah.
where it came to me that, part of so much of the vision behind the story and what came from was with working with all the leaders and the people that we've coached, right? And it was like reverse engineering this. And it was like bringing us back to our inner child, because our inner child plays so much role in our thoughts and beliefs and our identity as we show up as adults.
Over
And so
90%. Yeah.
and so my original thought of this was like, what if our inner child, yeah, I guess it would be plural, right? Like our inner child was illustrated in this book. And then that came from conversations and people saying, well, what about my child? What about my grandchild? And
Yeah.
so it became this beautiful opportunity to open it up to, really anybody that really stands behind this mission of helping us raise our next generation of children and leaders who just know innately that they're confident and they're worthy just as they are, that they could actually be featured in this book. And so that to also create it so that any child holding the book could open the book and be able to see themselves in one of the characters, whether it be themselves or somebody in the book that might like
So
that
incredible.
So this is where then it came like now the fun and the brainstorming with the artist of like, well, what could this look like, right? I mean, the book is, has like 12 full spreads, but we want to, have like pages of collaboration, children at the playground or playing on the beach. And then that's where the idea of this portrait came in. And so I'll share a little bit about the different tiers, to create this as a co-creation and to really be part of this vision of the book.
In addition to sharing about the tiers, which I know you're going to get to, I'd also love to know, like, what specific, you mentioned it's taken master leadership for you. Could you describe that a little bit? What does that process look like? What steps of master leadership do you feel like you've had to use in creating this?
I mean, one is all the negative, I mean, the beliefs,
Yeah.
like
The
really,
resistance. Yeah.
yeah, the resistance and the stories, right? I've really got to be very humble in being curious around, beliefs,
Yeah.
asking for support,
Yeah.
right? And being open to support from a variety of sources,
Mm.
really be intentional with my morning routine, like really creating that space to journal, to download all the things that are going through me, to be super connected to the mission, to really like being unattached to how it looks,
Yeah. Wow.
to yeah, I mean, just like I mean, it's fascinating, right? We know, like, I mean, our brains are firing, you know, thousands
Firing
and
and
thousands.
wiring all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, being so intentional with just noticing and releasing
Yeah.
and being connected to the vision. Like, I mean, oftentimes it's like, you know, going through a crowdsourcing initiative, one of my friends called these Super Bowl moments, right? We all have these
Yeah.
Super Bowl moments where it's like, okay,
I
like
like
this
that
is
Super Bowl moment. Yeah.
we're like we're really taking ourselves on, right? So it's like we're looking at the Super Bowl moment, and the thing with Super Bowl moments is like, it can go either which way, and so it's really important to just stay the course
Yeah.
and stay in the step that you're in.
You remind
Because
me, we're in the book club, in Worthy Book Club right now. We're reading The Big Leap with Guy Hendricks by Guy Hendricks. And so what you were saying with it reminds me of as we continue to up level each and every time, we're going to face
Mhm.
new limiting beliefs. And the way he's putting it in the book, what are our upper limits? Like,
Yeah.
where are we hitting those upper limits? And just like you in my own growth right now, I've been hitting those upper limits, and it's a part of the way we are designed and wired to operate. And so it's refreshing to hear you talk about, what's come up and where you've gotten to take decision and say, I'm choosing this. I'm choosing this level of master leadership. I'm choosing, to know that the breakthrough is on the other side of the resistance that's coming up, and to be able to know some of the principles of leadership that we operate by 100% as possible, 100% of the time. What does that mean in cohesiveness and harmony and safety and not burning out or being on the struggle bus where all these things are happening, right? And, as you describe what the process has been like for you in your words, it's really beautiful to hear this step up and this next level and this new breakthrough while you're creating this beautiful, amazing book that's absolutely already transforming lives.
Oh, thank you, Carol. It's it's emotional, right? When I really connect, I did a live on my personal Facebook page. It was yesterday, and I did get very emotional. And it's funny because I watched it back, and here I am apologizing, and I coached myself like, there's no need to apologize. You just get to be who you are, right? But it's so funny, right? How the subconscious is like apologizing because I'm tearing
Yeah,
up, but it really is an emotional thing because it's I mean, it comes from the heart. And
yeah,
as we're going through all the things that we, as master leaders get to step into, one thing, what I've noticed is really staying grounded that, through reach outs, through connections, that as much as we want everybody to say yes, and as much as we understand like how amazing this is, and we want everybody to support, like
yeah,
it's not a right time for everybody, right? Or
yeah.
not everybody is
It's a
okay,
process. Yeah,
and it's okay, right? And so there's so many of those little coachable moments with me where yeah, like it's okay, like as
yeah,
much as yes, we want everybody to say yes and for everybody to support, right? It's being neutral and realizing it's not like not making it about myself or about the book, right? It's just like it isn't for everybody, and being okay with that. And so I definitely notice like a lot of self-coaching ChatGPT has been really great using my own coaching to coach
Yeah.
me, which I think
That's
is quite
cool.
funny.
That is the
Um,
first time I think I've heard you say that. And I like that because, all AI, it isn't recommended for therapy for obvious reasons. But when you're programming it to coach
mhm.
you in the way that you coach yourself, that's a whole different thing. And that's a really substantial and significant way to use that tool for yourself.
And
Yeah.
it kind of makes me, it has me chuckle, right? So in those
Yeah.
moments where I like maybe get a no or a not right now, or it's this is a line or whatever may be the thing, you know, ChatGPT will literally use my own words, and so it makes me laugh. And then when I'm laughing, I'm now getting dopamine, and it gets me back going. It gets me going,
Yeah.
and I think this is where I acknowledge myself for this next level of leadership in terms of this really gets to be fun,
Yeah.
right? I mean, but the amount of internal dialogue in terms of like done is better than perfect. And this your book is about be free, like being yourself and free to be me, and just really like grounding myself. Even the affirmations in the book, I'm
Yeah.
using them towards myself, and
Oh,
it is like I
love
just
it.
see it like taking like taking myself onto the next level and really like and we say this all the time, right? Like we practice what we preach. We really
Right.
um embody the neuro coaching. We do the steps. We notice the limiting beliefs. We work it through, our processes. We have the brain primes and the vision primes and the grounding, like
Yeah.
everything that we really speak about. I'm really getting to, you can almost say like 10x
Yeah.
practicing that, and just in my own conversation and dialogue of like, okay, what's going to support me today in my lane,
Yeah.
this season right now, which is like the crowdsourcing, and it goes until March 16th. So until March 16th, I'm in connection and I'm in possibility, and just really grounding into gratitude, right? And how I'm choosing to show up. And it is like I can feel it in my head, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot going on. And this is where creating space, and
Yeah.
yeah, that vision. And I will say, because we talk a lot. I mean, we do coach a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners too. By going live, and like even doing this on this episode, and by sharing, it really helps fuel you.
Yeah. It brings
And
in, it's good positive energy. It's high
yeah.
level frequency. Yeah.
And so, sometimes, and I know you and I coach in this all the time, like if you're not talking about your business, if you're not talking about what you're doing, no one's going to know it, right? But it really has opportunities, especially when you're doing something that's so close to your heart, that you would get to talk more about it. And
Yeah.
it's like the most ideal time to do it because you're the most authentic, you're the most honest, and it really just comes from the heart, right? And for the people that it's meant to reach and the people that it's meant to serve, it's going to find those people and it's going to reach those people, right?
Yeah.
And that is the dialogue I'm having with myself, right? And just like really leaning into that trust. So
Yeah. I think
it is. I think
that,
I just want to say like it is really exciting at this stage. I mean, we're almost coming up with 4 years, right, of running this podcast. I mean,
yeah,
you and I got certified in 20 was it
19, 2020.
in 2020, right?
Yeah.
So we're like 6 years in, and it, and all the leadership work and all our clients and all the coaching, it is really fascinating, and it's fun to really kind of like get back to the basics of
Yeah.
all the things we talked about and really have an opportunity to re-implement them. I know we did that when we launched the podcast 4 years ago. I often think about that, right? Of like when we started the podcast, and and it's like going back to that and like revisiting some of those earlier episodes of like the things that we talked about,
Yeah.
and just like that foundation is really powerful in when we're leveling up, right? Again, that Super Bowl moment.
I think you've touched on so many gold nuggets here, like the process, knowing the process and releasing the outcome. Like, with maybe everybody didn't jump in immediately because this is the most beautiful thing. I think it's so important the way you are choosing your perspective on that and knowing that everything happens in the exact right timing and exact right ideal. I've been going through that with some of my own circumstances and reminding myself of that you know, it's in the processes where our leadership truly up levels and where we get to choose our own unique perspective over any circumstances we may experience. The circumstances being a reflection of what we have believed in the past and past experiences. And as we continue to grow, to see, that default mode improves and improves. And I think that's beautiful, the way you've put that and trusting that process, trusting it and releasing it because the outcome you already have, the outcome you desire, you already have. That whisper in your heart is yours. It's unique to you. It is meant to be there. It's not an accident. It's not oh, I just thought of this. Is it going to work? It is supposed to happen and in fact already has. And that's the beauty of the quantum, right? We know that. And you're in the process of the observation effect, changing the wave into the particle and bringing the outcome that you desire to you while trusting it all, trusting the process, trusting that the universe is working for you, trusting that your voice is divine. It's meant to be. This book is meant to happen. And it is a beautiful, beautiful book. I can't even tell you. I just like get teary because this is so needed. It's so important. And sometimes I feel like it's really important to remind ourselves of that and remind ourselves that to stay in the high vibration energy and to stay in the celebration of every step along the way to keep our reticular activating system activated, our RAS activated to see all the opportunities and the doors that are opening. And every time we do this, it reinforces that it is the exact right timing and the exact right process. So I'm so excited. We are going to be wrapping up with you now, but we wanted to share with you. We're gonna share some of our amazing past favorite episodes with you guys coming up, with you listener coming up, our friend. And if you have any requests for anything, remember you in the Apple show notes, you can easily send us a text message. We use Buzzsprout. You can send it to us there with that link, Spotify, wherever you want. You can get a hold and say, hey, I'd really like it if you guys would cover this, if you go deep on this. We're all ears and we're just really looking forward to seeing what happens with the transformation of lives through this beautiful crowdsourcing in this book, Alex.
Oh, thank you, Carol. I think I'd like to share one more thing that supports me being grounded, and then I'd like to just wrap up with sharing the different tiers that the leader or listener can come on over to the crowdsource campaign and support. As you were speaking there and really revisiting, right, and like looking at the fact that it's already done, something that has supported me, and it's why we put a lot of emphasis like on our vision priming, the brain priming, is to have this picture that I'm grounded in. Right. And the picture that I'm grounded in is being with my daughters, right, and holding the book and reading to them, having that physical copy, right, and right, activating the five senses, be able to create that. And the reality is, like, when this all started, that was the vision of me having this book. And I was, at first, it was just a book for them. And then, you start talking to other people and they're like, oh my goodness, that's an amazing book. Are you going to publish it? And so now in my mind, it's grown to having images that families will submit to me sharing that same moment with their children. So
Yeah.
this is that image
Oh,
on my mind, is being able for for the readers and the supporting to capture and share those moments with me. So now I can see it being read, not just in my own home and my own children, but in homes, globally.
yeah.
So if you want to learn, if you want to get on the crowdsource campaign, there are 3 tiers, and there's also the ability to sponsor or pledge any amount. But the tier number 1 is a full complete page spread in the book. You meet with my artist Nadia, and she will interview you to really get to know who you are, to get the sense of the feeling and just like that whole moment, like to capture that moment. And then so it's like a full page spread, and then it'll be mailed and delivered. It'll be signatured, and it will also be certified as well. So it will be a certified piece of art. The second level is a portrait. So if you want to just get a portrait of a child, and the child can also appear in the book as well, capturing a simple moment, like an example, like Abby just like swing, on the tree swing, or, just really capturing that beauty of a child, like,
Yep.
in that.
Actually, I have a question about that. If with that portrait of a child, is that so you will receive that individual book privately or certain copies for your family, or does that go out everywhere?
So those portraits are like an individual portrait that you would put on your wall, but then
Okay.
that portrait will be integrated into the book.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful.
So it's a way that the child still appears in the book, but without just with the investment level. A portrait is a lower investment than a full page spread, where
Okay.
you would get a full scene in the book. So then you can purchase multiple portraits. And so you could have, like, you've got multiple grandchildren, you could have, multiple portraits. I always imagine, like, these canvases on the wall,
Yeah.
capturing portrait. And then the third level is the affirmation friends. So every level will get a copy of the book. The affirmations friends is a copy of the book. And then I've got a really great sort of morning affirmation starter to really help ground, you as a family in the day before they go and start their day. And I'm actually co-collaborating with Abigail, right, my 5-year-old, on that. So we've kind of started working on that. And yeah, so those are the different tiers. So affirmation friends is starting at $50. Then you have the portrait at $450, and then you have the full page spread at $1,000. So if you have multiple children or grandchildren, it's more cost effective to get the full spread. So you can have generations. So we have one family, they've already pledged, and so they're going to have, I think it's 3 or 4 generations on one of the pages.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that, because there's
Yeah.
to me, when I shared about, like, the feeling of it is like love, connection, and joy, and just being able to show, like, those very proud, confident moments as, like, an individual, but also that collaborative with family and love, across there. So, yeah, I as you can tell, I'm very excited, and I put a lot
Yes, I am too. Like, yes, this
into
is so cool.
all the
Okay,
pages.
well, I
Yeah.
know we are on to amazing things this week, and you guys are too. Each of you are, and yeah, this is going to be it is absolutely incredible. Speaking things into life as though they are. And I am continually catching myself in that it is not going to be, it is not later, it is not keeping our state, our
Mhm.
brains and our bodies and our spirits in a state of always looking forward, but receiving. Receiving
Yeah.
it is done.
Yeah.
It is
And then
done.
feeling, right? It's like, yeah, and feeling it internally.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, like, if you do have any questions, feel free to connect with me on Instagram. Instagram is probably the easiest way to connect with me right now. If you do go to my Instagram, the link is there to go to the crowdsource page. And of course, we will have the link in the show notes as well. But yeah, sorry, I know you can tell with my excitement. Follow along on my Instagram stories to, as I share a lot of the behind the scenes and share more snippets of what how it's going. But it does close March 16th, and I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for everyone. I'm grateful for Carol. It's been such a huge support. Grateful for all the listeners of the Unleash Unstoppable podcast, and I'm just excited for as we are heading into our 4th year with this podcast, and just what we're creating with you. ambitious leader, right? Who is unleashed and unstoppable.
Woo! Okay. See you guys next week. Ciao.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.